G'day, Steve Morgan, Fishing Monthly Magazines with Dave Sherry from Yamaha. And Dave, first look at a brand new V6 motor, 350 horsepower, mate. There is a lot of horses in this thing.
There is. It's a new lightweight model for us. Of course, we had the original 5.3 litre V8, which was first to market in its day, and this is the new generation.
I think I've had a quick look over the specs and I've noticed that they're a really light outboard, under 300 kilograms, so very similar to your current 300 horsepower platform.
Yeah, very similar, Steve. It is a completely new engine, so it's got a bigger capacity of 4.3 litre. It's got a more durable lower unit. It's got a bigger throttle body, so it shares the same throttle body as our big gun, the 450.
Yep.
And to let that air in the engine and then bigger bang, more horsepower.
Now, we've got these on a couple of locally built boats today, and the word I hear on the street is that this lighter 350 horsepower makes it accessible to more boats.
Yeah, it certainly does. Yeah, so over some of the other brands perhaps on the market, we could fit on a transom that would have a weight restriction, and then certainly be able to offer that same performance.
One thing I notice is when you're buying a boat, always put the maximum horsepower on it. I never hear anyone saying, I wish I bought less horsepower when I order my boat, so I always like going for the maximum. Tell us about the steering on these motors. Your digital electric steering is impressive. I hear this is the only option for the 350.
Yeah, so 350 comes standard as a premium model with our digital electric steering. So it has beautiful rigging, there's no hydraulic lines, there's no hydraulic fluid. It's a full electric steering. It's totally compatible with our Helmmaster EX joystick and autopilot system, and can be certainly upgraded and bought at any level.
And I think the Helmmaster, from what I see in the marketplace, most people buying a motor this size are going to tick the box for Helmmaster. It's been that successful.
It has been, yeah. There's been a really good take up on the market. The product performance is exceptional. We've been working really hard to do lots of demos in the field as well to spread the word about how good the performance and the system is.
Branching away from our main topic a little bit, bow thruster integrated into Helmmaster. I hear one of these boats has got it in. Which one?
We do. We have it in the cruise craft here today, the 720. For 24 this year, along with the 350, we had a single bow thruster come to market.
Yep.
And that's pretty exciting as well, so we'll share that today.
There you go. So it's going to be an exciting day on the water. We're going to take these boats for a ride, come back to you with some of the performance statistics.
Okay, so every 350 that's available today comes with the DES steering fitted to the engine, inbuilt steering. The dealer would fit a DES helm, a 6X9 DEC control box, so digital electronic controls, shift and throttle. That allows you to upgrade to our autopilot system and also to our joystick system, which has the point features of drift point, fish point, and joystick operation. Okay, so new for this year, we've got a new 6X9 binnacle control box. It now has the start-stop button and the network power button on the control. So we don't have a separate key. This boat's fitted with our EKS, our electronic key system. So it has a key fob, very similar to what your motor vehicle would have. We can change the LED backlight color of this control box. So in neutral, we can have a color, and in gear, we can have a different color. So that's a really good safety feature. The engines are so quiet these days. It's really difficult sometimes to know if you're in neutral or in gear, so it's a good feature there. Some of the other features we've got on the handle, of course, once we're in gear, we've got speed control on the side, so we can adjust our speed up and down in either RPM or speed over ground increments. We get 10 steps up and down, and it works very similar to cruise control in your car. So as the engine loads up, if you're climbing swell, it will apply throttle. And as you come down swell and it unloads, it will decelerate. So very similar to cruise control to maintain speed. So great for when you're trolling or trying to hold a constant speed in a heavy sea. Helmmaster has been really well accepted by the market. It's a very high take up on these high horsepower engines, particularly in these new boats. People are spending big money on electronics, and these features are fantastic. So autopilot with our system, it's all made by Yamaha. It's plug and play plugs into our steering on your new 350. The joystick system also plug and play, plugs in and works really well and integrates fantastic.
G'day everybody, Stuart from Yamaha here, and I guess I'm going to just show you quickly through what is bow thruster integration with a single engine. So if you've come to a boat show, if you've watched videos online, you'll see with our multiple engine boats, so twin, triples, quads, how we can move them laterally side to side. So when we got the bow thruster integration, we went, hey, we're not going to be able to get that same sideways movement because we need the two engines to do that, of course. But what we can get is this integration of the control using the bow thruster and our throttles and gears and steering at the same time. So you can see here I've got the F1 button on. What that means is the bow thruster is active and it's going to work with our system. I'm in neutral. I simply press joystick. Now, what you're going to see here is if I try and go sideways, the system says no. But if I go sideways with a bit of diagonal there, you can see now bow thruster is going to kick in. You can just hear it maybe in the background there. It's a bit windy here today. But what I'm actually doing is going diagonally backwards like that. So when you are coming into dock, and we just did it there before when we came in to swap boats, is you can actually start to be quite intuitive with how you control the boat in those tight scenarios. Where it really excels though is where we get outside here and use it in our fishing mode, so our point modes with the joystick as well. So let's go do that. Okay, so something else that we can do with the bow thruster is, you might be familiar with our pattern shift mode. So I'm in gear now at the moment, right? I'm at basically just clicked the engine into gear. So there we go, let's do it again. I'm just in gear at idle. Now what I can do with our speed control is drop my boat below the minimum planing or the minimum idle speed that we'd normally have. Pattern shift's gonna now shift the engine in and out of gear without any input from me and just keep that speed of the boat quite low. So again, my bow thruster is active. Now, I can go into heading hold now, and I'm going to maintain my heading with autopilot on, and the bow thruster is going to help correct that. So if we've got a wind, you know, blowing across our bow thruster is just going to kick on really nicely and just hold my heading on. We might not have enough wind here to do it, so I'm going to trick it. I'm going to actually try and change my heading. So I can just twist the joystick here. You just hear the bow thruster ever so slightly kick in, just pulls my heading back onto that new line. So that's a really good example of, again, the integration between the two systems.
So there you go, that's what the new 350 horsepower DES Yamaha looks like out on the water, and we had those two boats to test them on today. This 780 bar crusher and the 720 HT cruise craft. And we're going to come back to you in a while with some of the performance stats from those rigs. But initially, quite a quiet motor at cruise. Of course you can hear this when it's running at wide open throttle. Both of these motors got up to around that 6,000 RPM range at wide open throttle. Nice tone from the motor. But at the helm, love the steering. It's tight, it's easy to use, there's no play in it. DES is a real winner. The DES is also customizable. If you like a different amount of lock-to-lock steering, you can adjust that, and you can even adjust it through the rev range. So you can have more turn-to-turns when you're at higher revs and lower turn-to-turns at lower revs. I think that's an interesting feature that makes that whole ecosystem very easy to use. I also like the evolution of Helmmaster. You know, when we launched it a few years ago, it did a few things, but now with the integration of the bow thruster, it takes a little bit more to get your head around how it works. Like you need a forward or reverse vector to get that bow thruster really kicking in. But in manoeuvring around the dock and also for all of the point modes, I think it's going to add to your boating experience. It does need to be integrated with particular bow thrusters though. If you've already got a bow thruster on your boat, check with the local Yamaha dealer to see if it integrates. So some of the cool things are the total tilt, where you can double click that tilt button and it'll tilt your motor all the way to the top without you monitoring that button at all. Let's look at some of the performance on this bar crusher, the 780 HT. Best cruising revs, 3,500 RPM, 46 kilometres an hour, and a quite surprising 1.43 kilometres per litre burned. The cruise craft, slightly less economical, 3,500 RPM, 42 kilometres an hour, 1.28 kilometres per litre, but in boats of this size, with this power on it, anything over 1 kilometre per litre, I reckon, is pretty good economy. Now, if you want to drive these things hard, the cruise craft had a higher top end speed, 6,000 RPM, 86 kilometres an hour, and that economy halves to 750 metres per litre burned. The bar crusher, sort of the same. If you put the hammers down, you get half the economy, 6,000 RPM, 84 kilometres an hour, and 0.73 kilometres per litre. These motors are available in the Yamaha grey or in the white, so you can use the styling to match your boat, and they're shipping now. Contact your local Yamaha dealer for pricing and availability.